The first thing I remember is the game that I love. A man on a diamond with a golden glove. Daddy with me in the cheap seats above saying...
Welcome to the Two Cutoff Men, the podcast dedicated specifically to the Cincinnati Adult Baseball League. I'm Jason Earhart, along Colt 45's first baseman Ray Sterling as we recap the week that was, the week ahead, and all things CABL.
Are you ready? I said, are you ready?
Thanks for tuning in to episode 2 of the Two Cutoff Men. For more information about our league, you can visit our Facebook page by searching Cincinnati Adult Baseball League, and you can check out our league website at www.CincyABL.com. That's Cincy with a Y. You can find stats, standings, rosters, schedules, all kinds of good stuff on there. With that, I'd like to welcome in our co-host, who's also the show's producer and longtime Cincinnati Colt 45 stalwart, the inimitable Ray Sterling. And Ray, welcome to podcast number 2. A lot of fun doing this last week. Lots of great feedback. Glad to be back here for more.
Yeah, looking forward to keeping this thing going. We got a lot of feedback, a lot of kickbacks from the guys at the game and at my game, and then seeing some of the other things coming through, and you sharing some of the things on the websites and stuff. So it's great to know that people are listening, and that hopefully we can keep this thing going, and then maybe get a little better at it, and the guys will keep enjoying it. So
absolutely. So Ray, for week 2, well, it wasn't a whole lot different than week 1. We had 9 of the 10 games rained out in week 1, 8 of the 10 in week 2. We did get 2 games in, but I got to ask you, is it ever going to stop raining?
You know, it doesn't seem like it. It looks like this weekend's going to be rough too, and luckily we have some games off this week. But what is it, like the next 5 days? It looks like it's going to be raining again. So, me personally, in a way, I'm kind of hoping it does rain. I have to travel a little bit for work, so I'm going to miss my coaching my high school boys for a game or two. And but other than that, we got to get some baseball in.
Absolutely. And Ray, when you look at the schedule and why we do it, guys ask, why don't we just start our season in mid-May? Well, with Murphy's Law, what would happen if we did that? The 3 Sundays in April would naturally be sunny and dry, and you'd get dry weather. We just try to get these games in when we can. You never know. Sometimes May is worse than April, but this time of year, it's just kind of a crapshoot. So, a couple games did get in. We were able to get some in last night. I think there have been 6 played so far. And that takes us to this weekend where, quite frankly, it doesn't matter for you and I if it does rain because, as you well know, we don't play Mother's Day, and there's a good reason for that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think with a lot of us might have a little issues there if we had to play this Sunday. So that's a good decision not to play on Mother's Day. And while we're there, we can take it in case some wives are listening in with the hubbies or whatever. Happy pre-Mother's Day to all of you, and hope you have a good one.
Absolutely. And I think, Ray, if we did play on Mother's Day, it would certainly be the last time we played on Mother's Day. The moms, the wives would not be happy with us at all. And a happy Mother's Day to anyone who might be listening. I'm sure we have some female listeners as the podcast continues to grow. And, we do not play this Sunday, but we'll be back at it next week. And really starting next week, we're going full bore 2 times a week pretty much from now until September, with the lone exception of Memorial Day weekend and the 4th of July. And I don't know about you, but I'm ready to go twice a week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the time of the year that everybody looks forward to. So looking forward to starting to get those 2 games in each week. We should start hopefully having the better weather. At least you can, this time of year, at least we can get 1 in each week for the first few weeks of May. So hopefully we'll get some better weather coming, and everybody be able to play 2 each week. So it'll be
we were able to get 2 games in, as we mentioned last Sunday. You only had 1 the week before to talk about, but last week we were able to get 2 games in, and in fact, one of those games happened to be your game. You renewed your longtime rivalry with Ryan Roth and Hawkeyes Knights up there from New Carlisle. You met them on a turf field at Withrow, and worked out pretty well. Your Colts able to pull out a nice opening season victory.
Yeah, it was a real nice day. It ended up being a great day. It started out a little chilly, but the outfield was just a little tiny bit wet. But thank God for the turf. We were able to get that game in, and we had a really nice day. Came out. Hawkeye wanted to go ahead and go against us as usual, and this time we threw a new guy at him, and Jason Best. And Bestie had a nice day out. He threw a 2-hit shutout, and I know we had a couple guys that had a pretty good day at the bat. Kevin Wren and Bruce Gunning, Slayer. It was not a monstrosity, Bruce, as you're listening to this, but it was a nice hit. So, but yeah, I think we put out 10, 12 hits, something like that, and put up a 10 spot on them. So it was a good start. Good start.
Definitely. And let's talk a little bit about your Colt 45 team. For those listening in that may not know, Jason Best, a guy that goes down to Florida with us in the fall, and he comes a long way, along with Kevin Wren. He's not just driving across town to come play these games. Tell us the story behind those two guys.
Yeah, so how we all came in a mix was actually with the Florida team back in, I believe we started in 2009. We got mixed in with some guys from South Bend, Indiana, and it's the South Bend Cardinals. And we did kind of a half team thing. And as we, over the last few years, we've kind of built those friendships up. And I know Kevin and Jason Murray are really good friends. As you know, we're all pretty close, but those two have bonded pretty well. And so Kevin decided, to come down. I know he makes a couple-hour trip. I think he's just a little bit north of Indianapolis, if I'm not mistaken. But Wren is actually from South Bend as well. And then Jason Best actually travels from South Bend. So
wow.
I think he told me Sunday that he left at 4:30 in the morning to make it to our game.
Oh, mercy.
So
that's some dedication there. I think sometimes when guys make the trip, we do have the Dayton trips up to Franklin and vice versa. It doesn't really seem that far when you consider, Wren and Best. These guys are coming from hours away. That just shows that their dedication to the game is incredible.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's nice to see, these guys that want to get out there and play ball and to be able to come that far. That's something for them to be able to do, especially Best coming that far that early that morning and then throwing a 2-hit shutout. So
not a bad start for Best for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Now let's talk about another guy on your team that you mentioned, and I know he's listening to this right now, and I'm going to resist the temptation to rip on him here, but Bruce Gunning, his nickname is Slayer, and a lot of times people would hear that, and I heard the story behind it a while back. I just pictured that Bruce was a big heavy metal fan from like that back in the early 90s. But ultimately, that's not how he got the nickname Slayer, is it?
No, that's not it. With the Colts, the diehard Colts, you're kind of initiated in and kind of born into the brotherhood by getting a nickname, and the nicknames come by not just somebody comes up with something or whatever. It always has something to do with what you say, what you do, something that comes up. In Slayer's case, he was on bat one day, and one of our other teammates was standing there, is named Hoss, it's his nickname, and Trey Seibel. Well, Bruce didn't happen to take a look at where he was at when he was swinging the bat, and brought the bat back and cracked him right in the head.
Ouch.
Yeah,
Can you hurt Trey by hitting him in the head? I'm just wondering.
I don't think you could ever tell if there's any ill effects, but
you might have straightened him out.
Yeah. So, but that's how it ended up with. That's how he ended up with the Slayer.
That's great. Now, Slayer is a nickname that he has. Now, you have a nickname as well for the Colt 45s.
Yes. It was one I kind of was shying off of at first, but I've grown to love it and just really take it in. But yeah, my name's Pumpkin. So
now that wouldn't have anything to do with the orange color that the Colts wear, would it?
Oh no, not at all. No.
Just a mere coincidence.
Yeah. So to give everybody, because I get asked this a lot, and what's funny is I'll get asked by catchers as I go at the bat. All right, man, you got to step out and tell me what this is about. Why are you called this? So I'll give the story, kind of quick details of the story here. When first year I was with the Colts down in Florida, we were getting our uniforms and stuff for the first game that morning, and I put my jersey on. Well, at that time, some of you guys may have known that I was a little hefty, a little heavier than I am. I weighed, I was just right over 300 pounds at the time. And I put the orange jersey on, the sleeveless jersey, and we were walking out to the car, and I turned to one of our teammates, Will McCabe, and I said, man, I look like a freaking pumpkin in this thing. Well, so be it. One of the guys heard it. It got to the wife. The wife happened to tell Hawk, who runs the Colts, and the first time I go up to bat in the World Series down in Florida, I go in, and I step in. He goes, "Come on, you great pumpkin, let's get a hit," and it stuck. That was it.
So it's pretty much a self-inflicted wound that we can pretty much surmise from all this. You did it to yourself.
Oh yeah. That's usually the way it works out.
Well, it's always a fun fun story behind those Colt nicknames, and thanks for sharing that. I'm sure we can touch on some more as we get down the road. Those are two of the ones that we hear more often. Yourself and Bruce, of course, being Slayer. You guys won that game over the Knights by a score of 10-0. There was one other game that was played Sunday morning that was also on turf out at Foundation Field, and that was a game between the Dodgers and the Dayton Braves, and it was a good start for the Braves. They jumped out to a 7-1 lead after 3 innings, but then the wheels kind of fell off.
Yeah, that's what from what I was reading on the from the highlights and stuff. It looks like you got to keep playing, but that was a good comeback for the Dodgers, and
absolutely
like they start off. After 3 coming back for the last and scored 4 in the 4th, 7 in the 7th to put it away. So
yeah, that's a big rally. Brandon Heineman coming out of the bullpen, throwing 6 innings in relief to pick up the win in that game. And it's kind of the same story with the Braves last year. A pretty darn good offensive team, but they got to be able to limit the teams to fewer runs in order to make that next step into the upper echelon of the league. It's been kind of an issue for them. And I talked to Taylor Fisher the other day, the manager of the Braves, and certainly something they're working on. They got a good start from their starter. But this early in the year, it's kind of hard to extend guys too far. You really don't want to throw more than a few innings early on. And, I think they'll be all right. Braves, the team we're both familiar with. I played with them in Florida a couple times, and I know you've played them many times over the years, with the Dayton League and whatnot. And good group of guys there. I think they'll be all right.
Oh, yeah, they'll definitely be fine. They kind of, I think if I remembered last year, they sputtered a little bit at the beginning and then really kicked it in, especially at the end. They kicked it in. So, they're going to be around there, battling up there with the top 8. So you can't have your pitcher going the whole game this early in the season. So, on our side, we had a guy that was able to throw, but he's been throwing, we go to Florida in February and things like that. But most of these guys have not thrown as much, and it's going to take some time for us all to get in there and
absolutely
go. So
yeah, I know that's how it's going to be with my team next week when we start next Wednesday. It's going to be Johnny Holstaff for the first couple games because really no one's got any considerable throwing in. Ray, we have to decide who the player of the week is. We really only have 2 games from which to choose. Now, you have intimate knowledge of the game that you were at. I'm going to give you a couple of names from this Dodgers game. Brandon Heineman, one I already threw out there, 6+ innings of 2-run baseball in relief to pick up a win. And the guy I'm kind of leaning toward right now, a guy, Brad Clark, and he got another game in last night, which we'll touch on later. He got to play twice this week. But on Sunday against the Braves, Brad went 4 for 4 with a hit by pitch and a walk. So he was on base all 6 times with a double, pair of RBIs, scored a couple runs, also got a hit off of Deerfield last night. So within the week, Brad with 5 hits. And if you know Brad, really good guy. Used to play with the Miami Valley guys up there with the Camden Redlegs, I believe. Been with the Dodgers 5 or 6 years now. Pretty good pitcher as well. A really good player, and certainly one of my top candidates for player of the week. I know you probably have a couple guys you'd like to throw out there from that Colt 45 game.
Yeah, I mean, there was, we had a couple guys that had a good day as well, but Brandon Clark, that was the first one, actually, as I was reading over it and going over things that really stood out to me, too. That's a big day. On base 6 times, 4 for 4, 2 RBIs. I mean, that's holding it down. So, of course, there Kevin Wren, 3 for 4 with the Colts, having a good day. That he definitely could go ahead and push that envelope with them. But I think I might have to go with Clark, 4 for 4, being on base 6 times. So I think I'm going to go with you and go with Clark. to be honest with
All
you.
right. Brad Clark it is for the Dodgers.